Hey guys, Chris again from ClassicVWBugs.com, and in this video I want to talk about this 1957 Oval Window Ragtop Beetle Build-A-BuG project update. Let's go check it out. Alright, so here we go. 57 Oval Window Ragtop Beetle. It's a Build-A-BuG project we have going on here for our client. It's been a couple years now we've been working on this project, and she is almost finished, and pretty soon going to be taking her on her maiden voyage. This color is agave green, an original color to 57 Oval Rag. And as you can see, this is an American model 57 due to the bullet front turn signals that you see here. The client did opt for the Euro style blade bumpers, as you can see, not the overrider style bumpers, so we did have to plug the holes for the overrider tubes there. This was a body off restoration Beetle, and chassis was flipped up on its side, so I guess you could say it's a rotisserie restoration. We also had to do heater channels in this car as well, so when you do heater channels, of course you have to brace the car from pillar to pillar here, you know, the lines seem to be good. Everything lines up nicely. The gaps are good in the doors. So a lot of times when you're doing heater channels and after you weld everything in, the doors do not want to shut right, but these of course are perfect. They open real nice and they close good too. Yes, this is what everybody wants, especially on an oval window Beetle. This is a two-fold ragtop, so once they went to 56, the ragtops went to a two-fold, as you see here. 55 and earlier Beetles still sported the three-fold ragtop. One problem we've come across recently is on the 50s models Beetles, if you don't know, when you put the door panel on, there is a chrome trim that goes across the door panel. And up until now, one supplier has been supplying that trim, and that is Wolfsburg West. And they have been out of stock for quite some time, and the guy, I guess, that makes the chrome trim for them has kind of tipped somewhere. So still waiting on those. I did have an original set of chrome that I did send out to be chromed and plated. So I'm still waiting for that to come back. Once that comes back, I'll be able to put these door panels back on. But as you can see, we put our sound deadening in the doors. I like to put those in there just due to the fact that it really kills the sound. It gets rid of that tinny sound that you have when you close a Beetle door. And then I also put my barrier over that to stop any rainwater from touching up against the door panel. Because once water starts touching the back of the door panels will start to bend and get wavy, kind of like a potato chip. So good thing to do with insulation and a barrier. And of course, this is our So Fine interior. This client opted for the beige vinyl seat upholstery, hidden stitched with the off-white piping. We also used our trim kit in this car. So of course the beige is also on the doorposts, under the quarter windows as well, and also the assist straps. The headliner material is the tweed. You know I love tweed, and it fits always very nicely into these cars. Molds very well into the corners, into the gaps, and is also very forgiving. It's got a lot of nice little stretch to it to get wrinkles out. We also put in the tan German square weave carpet. I get this from Wolfsburg West as well. These kits are not cheap. You're looking at least $500 to $600 to get the German square weave carpet. Coming up here, this client opted for the really cool aftermarket that they sell now as the Ramesh steering wheel. It has these nubs on around the perimeter of the steering wheel. Really cool steering wheel. If you have an original steering wheel from this time, basically from 56 and later, would have been this look, but would have had small ribs placed over here, and a lot of times those are cracked, and it's very difficult to restore those unless you've sent it out to get it recast or something. So many times I just tell the client to go with the Ramesh wheel. It's a really cool looking wheel. It's a rare looking wheel, and it's just a lot easier to just throw it on and it looks classy. So he also went for his own style type of horn button, which is pretty cool too. So moving along into the back seat area, see how nice and clean it is. Again, body off restorations. You know, my painter Benny, he paints even the areas that you don't see. Looks really nice and clean here. Again, when the body is off the chassis, you have access to easily paint under here. Many times you see body on restorations, even under the back seat, the tunnel and the pans and stuff are also painted the color of the car. This, of course, you can tell was a body off. We have all new hardware that also holds down the body to the chassis. So also going along into the door panel areas, I also put my famous insulation that you can get locally. And continuing with the German tan square weave carpet, I put the insulation, like the silver stuff you see there behind the door panels, on the luggage compartment. And then I also put this jute material on top of that, and I glued that down as well into this area to really deaden the sound. And the reason why I do that is because, you know, the motor is right back here. It's right beyond this luggage compartment, so you want this to be a quiet ride, and that's what I always shoot for. So I got 2 layers of insulation, and along with the carpet on top, really deadens the sound. Now check this out. This is a pretty expensive accessories that you see here on this dashboard. The Pahor's clock. These are, you know, pretty valuable. They're up there in cost, but they do make the dash look nice. Yes, you're gonna have. There is a dividing bar that is on the other side of this clock that is there for just the grill. For you to put this clock in, usually you're gonna have to cut this bar, and a lot of people don't like to do that, but you don't really see it, so cutting that is not really a big deal. But you know, some people just don't want to hamper with the dash, but so you're gonna have to do that. And then it's got this really cool radio here that we've been hooking up. It comes with a big power pack. It's actually a 12-volt radio, and he's got an up converter to make this work. Okay, so moving along towards the back, let me talk about our radial wide white wall tires. I always get these tires. These are the Coker radial wide white wall tires. They're 165 R15 tires. The radials, I know the originals were biased, but this radial white wall really makes the ride nice. I usually get this tire from Jegs, and I usually get 4 of them. If you get a 5th tire to want to put into the spare tire tub, you know, radial tires have a tough time going into the spare tire tub. So what I usually do is I get a good bias, like this one, that can fit into the tub. It's just for show purposes only, really. So, and even if you did get a flat tire, I mean, this bias would work in the meantime. So towards the back of the car here, remember that video I did past couple weeks on that Alcrossa style motor? Well, this was going into this car, that motor. So let's take a peek. And there she is, the beast. This little bit of a, you know, finagling to get this engine into the engine compartment. Of course, you know, you got the dual carbs on each side, so you have to kind of, you know, cock the motor in a way to get it up past the firewall area and such, so you're not hitting. Heat boxes sometimes hit a little bit if you're going with a bigger motor in an earlier engine bay, but this motor is a beast and actually looks very cool. Many guys are going for this type of a setup. Keep in mind it's not cheap. I mean, just to buy the dual carb kit alone from Wolfsburg West with the heads and the manifolds and such, you're looking at about $1,500 just for that, and you still got to consider the internal parts of your motor as well. So, and if you wanted to powder coat the tins like we did here, these tins were sent out, media blasted, and powder coated. So, and there's that 010 distributor that I always talk about. I even like putting these on regardless if you have a dual carb motor, but definitely going to need that distributor for this type of a setup. Okay, so wrapping this video up on this 1957 Oval Ragtop Bug, agave green, killer looking car, nice contrast on the inside. When people go to this extent with the restoration, many times they want to go even further with hardware. What I mean by hardware is bolts, nuts, things like that that fasten the panels down, the floors down on your Beetle. And they want to go as far as using stainless steel bolts. Now, I'm not a huge fan of stainless steel only because people start putting stainless steel hardware in structural areas. I don't mind you maybe putting these stainless steel bolts along the fenders to hold the fenders on, but to hold floor pans down, to hold the body down to the chassis with bolts like this. You know, these are big bolts. These are the big 10mm threaded bolts. They're going stainless with those. I mean, those are structural bolts, and stainless bolts are not as strong as your standard bolts, so they could snap. You know, you want at least an 8.8 or a 10 rating on these for strength purposes. But you know, for the most part, if I get new hardware, I just get new plated bolts. You know, a lot of times guys will want to save the old K-Max bolts and whatnot. I mean, that's okay too if you want to go ahead and do that, but I usually buy brand new bolt kits either from Wolfsburg West or CIP1.com, and if you can't get it from there, you can most likely get it from your local hardware store. So yeah, I just like to get new plated bolts, just not mess around. Time is money in the end, you know, so if you want to go ahead and do that, that's fine if you're not in a rush to put the car together. But so, you know, that's a couple tips there. You know, you see here, even on the latch here, the hood latch, I get some new hardware here as well, you know, just to make it look nice. It shows the finite detail, and when you're showing these cars at a show, you got the hood up, you got the deck lit up, doors open, things like that, and they see new hardware. It looks nice. I mean, I know it's probably a little bit further than what they did in the factory, but just, again, these are show purpose vehicles, and you know, you want it to stand out. Okay guys, so that wraps up this video this week, and again, 57 Oval Ragtop Bug. If you can get your hands on some of these oval window Beetles, there's plenty of them out there still that I see that are in project state or sometimes half project. You can grab those and resurrect them and bring them back to their glory. And again, you can go to my website, www.classicvwbugs.com, and watch the full restoration book on this car. Just go to the Build-A-BuG section, and you'll see the hundreds and hundreds of photos that we have just for this car. And you can learn, you know, little tips and tricks just by looking at the pictures and seeing how we've been restoring this car. And this car, along with many of the other cars that we've restored, also have hundreds of pictures and slideshow books showing what we're doing to each of these restorations. So pretty good things you can learn from. So, all right, if you've got any questions, you can email me, chris@classicvwbugs.com, and of course my website, classicvwbugs.com. That's it for this week, guys. I'll see you next time. Take care.